Welcome to the Win Win Evangelism Podcast. I'm Tina Waldrom from Evangelism in Australia. I love helping you and your church feel confident and inspired to share Jesus consistently. Before today's topic, why Christians stop sharing their faith and how to stay focused every week, I want to let you know about our free download that will help you answer the hard questions that people have about faith. You can download that for free on our website, evangelisminaustralia.com. Today I want to talk about something I think almost every Christian experiences at some point. Why do so many believers start out passionate about sharing Jesus, but then slowly lose focus? Maybe they've attended a conference, maybe they hear a sermon, maybe they complete a course on evangelism, maybe they have an incredible spiritual conversation with someone, and for a while they feel motivated and intentional, but then normal life comes back. Work, stress, family pressures, disappointments, fear, and distraction. And slowly evangelism moves from something intentional to something occasional. I honestly don't think most Christians stop sharing faith because they stop loving Jesus. I think many believers stop because they lose focus and they lose ongoing encouragement. Today I want to talk about why that happens, especially in Australian culture, and why I think believers need ongoing encouragement and daily reminders if they are going to keep living outward-focused lives. The Apostle Paul says this in Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. I think the verse is incredibly important because Paul assumes something here. He assumes believers will grow weary. He assumes people will lose momentum. He assumes we will need encouragement to keep going. And I think that's exactly what happens with evangelism. Evangelism rarely disappears overnight. Usually it fades slowly through distraction. And I think in Australia especially, there are real pressures that make this difficult. Aussies often value privacy. We don't want to appear pushy. We don't want awkward conversations. We don't want people to think we're forcing religion onto them. We fear rejection, we fear awkwardness, and we fear damaging relationships. So what happens? A believer has one uncomfortable moment, one rejected conversation, one awkward interaction at work or with family, and slowly fear starts shaping future behaviour. Then life gets busy, and because nobody is keeping mission visible in their life, they slowly drift inward. Let me say that again. Then life gets busy. And because nobody is keeping mission visible in their life, they slowly drift inward. I think that's one of the biggest challenges facing believers today. Not hatred of evangelism, not lack of loving Jesus, but distraction. And research actually backs this up. Research from Barna Group has shown that while many Christians still believe sharing faith is important, fewer believers consistently live with an outward focus toward non-Christians. Another Barna study found that in 1993, 89% of Christians who shared their faith believed evangelism was their personal responsibility. By 2018, that number had dropped to 64%. You can imagine what the percent is now in the year 2026. That is a massive shift in mindset. And honestly, I don't think the solution is simply making people feel guilty. I think most believers already feel guilty enough. I think many believers actually want to share their faith, but they are feeling fearful. There unprepared, they're discouraged, or they're distracted. And this is where I think the psychology of focus becomes really important. Human beings move towards what stays visible in their lives. Athletes need coaches. People trying to lose weight need accountability. Mental health improves through repeated healthy habits. Businesses grow through consistent focus, and evangelism is no different. What we repeatedly focus on shapes our behaviour. If nobody reminds us to look outward, we naturally drift inward. And honestly, most Christians are not waking up each morning and thinking to themselves, who could God already be working in today? Who might need my encouragement today? What opportunity could God place in front of me today? Most people wake up thinking about the bills, about deadlines, about the stress, the family pressures. They wake up feeling fatigued and they just want to survive. That's pretty normal. But it means that evangelism slowly disappears from daily awareness unless something continual brings it back into focus. Just a quick break. A lot of evangelism training is confrontational, makes people feel awkward. We've worked hard to make all of our training the opposite of that, making evangelism something that everyone can be a part of. If you or your church are looking for that type of training, go to evangelisminaustralia.com and look at our training tab for some great options. Now let's get back to it. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 to 16 says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity." I love that phrase, making the most of every opportunity, because opportunities can be missed if we are not intentional. And I think this is why believers need ongoing encouragement, not just one sermon a year on evangelism, not just a couple of seminars, not just a couple of weekends in a year. They need daily reminders, daily perspective shifts, daily stories, daily examples, daily prayer prompts, and daily encouragement, because encouragement keeps mission visible. I love this quote from Tim Keller. "The gospel creates a people who are not self-absorbed, but who live for others." That is such a powerful thought. The gospel naturally turns believers outward, but they need encouragement. But staying outward focused in a distracted world takes intentional encouragement and ongoing reminders. Otherwise, we naturally drift inward. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 24 says, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds." I love that phrase, spur one another on. Christianity was never meant to be lived in isolation. We need encouragement. We need reminders. We need people helping us stay focused on mission. And I think one of the great opportunities today is that technology can actually help with this. Podcasts, text messages, social media, short encouragements, stories of faith conversations, daily reminders to pray for people. All of these things can help believers keep mission visible in an everyday life. And the interesting thing is people are often more open than we assume. Barna research found that many non-Christians are open to spiritual conversations when the environment feels safe, relational, and respectful. That matters because relational evangelism matters. Most people are not looking for arguments. They're looking for authenticity, safety, care, listening, and hope. And I think sometimes Christians quietly give up on evangelism because they think evangelism means having all the answers. But relational evangelism is often much simpler than that. It's listening, caring, asking questions, praying for people, encouraging people, noticing openness, and being willing to talk about Jesus naturally. 1 Peter 3:15 says, "Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect." I love that Peter includes those words, gentleness and respect. That gives the entire tone of evangelism. And honestly, every step toward Jesus matters. Curiosity matters. Questions matter. Conversations matter. Openness matters. Not every conversation leads somewhere immediately, but success in evangelism is not perfection. Success is faithfulness. Success is awareness and availability. And maybe that's the real key. Maybe believers don't simply need more information about evangelism. Maybe they need ongoing encouragement that keeps mission in front of them every single week. Maybe they need help staying outward focused in a world constantly pulling them inward. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up." I think that's one of the great missing pieces in evangelism today, encouragement. So let me encourage you with something simple this week. Each morning, pray for one opportunity. Look for one person that God may already be working in and ask God to help you stay outward focused instead of inward focused. You don't need to become someone else to share Jesus. You simply need ongoing encouragement to stay aware of the people God has already placed around you. If I can come alongside you and encourage you day by day and week by week, come and join our membership, sharejesus.com.au. Love to chat with you in that space. Well, thanks for listening today. I truly pray this has been helpful for you and your church. Don't forget to check out the show notes where you can get some questions that can be worked through as an individual or as a small group. For all other training, please go to evangelisminaustralia.com. Thanks for listening and see you next week.